So one of the things that I wondered as soon as I heard that you guys were going to be doing Justice League War for the next film, which is very exciting. As somebody who's worked on these movies from the very beginning, can fans take this as confirmation that you guys are starting to build a continuity with these movies moving forward?
There is that intent. There absolutely is. And then there'll be some exceptions to that, as there always are exceptions to a rule. But yes, I believe that is the intent of the powers that be, to keep some kind of continuity going as we go through.
Why now? Why decide to go with Flashpoint now and lead into Justice League?
It wasn't my decision. I actually don't know the answer to that question. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
So for casting this, what was the most fun part of finding newer, because you have some repeat voices in there.
Yeah.
So what of the newer voices, what was your experience there?
I'll tell you, the biggest thrill for me was finding a stunning voice actor in C. Thomas Howell. The fact that he told me that he had never done this before after we finished recording it, you are lying to me, Tommy. That is not. The man is stunningly talented at it. And you know, there have been times when I've hired various on-camera actors and brought them in, and they don't get it. They don't understand the energy. They're used to working very small. And this takes a little bit more. You know, stage actors move into animation better than film and TV actors do because they're so used to working small. But Tommy was stunning, so good. And Cary Elwes, I had worked with 20 years ago in Pinky and the Brain. He played Hamlet in a wonderful episode, and Olivia Hussey played Gertrude. It was one of those stunning moments in my career. I was like, I can't believe I'm directing these actors. And then Cary and I still knew each other, but had just lost contact, and every time I offered him a job, he was in London or somewhere, and then this piece came up, and it was like, okay, Cary's available, the role is right, he's getting to play a bad guy, which is so great for him, because he's always cast as the, you know, romantic lead, or the good guy, or the guy that something bad happens to. Instead, this was an instance where, yeah, let me have you play the bad guy, so that was a thrill.
And also, Superman, interesting.
You know, I hardly ever pat myself on the back, but I thought that was inspired casting. Tim had said to me for years, you know, my son is an actor, and if ever anything comes up, keep him in mind. And I didn't know his work. And so then the Daily Show, the DALY Daily Show came out, and Tim would send me links, and I watched them. They were hilarious. And I said, you know, Sam's a good actor. I will find something for him. And then this piece came up with a relatively small Superman role. It's not many lines of dialogue. And it's a younger Superman than we'd previously portrayed. And I thought, this is the perfect chance to try him out, to give him a shot at this. And he worked in the session with Dana Delaney and Ron Perlman. And so he was surrounded by people who had experience doing this, and he had a comfort zone there. And he let me beat him up a little bit and work with him. And it was so much fun. It was just great. It seemed like exactly the right casting. Made me happy.
Can we expect to see him in future DC animated films?
It's very possible. It could happen.
I want his daddy back.
You know what? It doesn't mean that Tim's not going to show up in as many projects. You know, I've told you guys before, whenever I get a project, the first thing I say is, can I use Kevin Conroy? Can I use Mark Hamill? Can I use Tim Daly? And sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no. And so, you know, on this particular one, it made sense to use another actor for it and to have it be his son. The best part about it was that I knew Tim would not be angry that I didn't use him on it.
That wasn't uncomfortable at all.
No, exactly. I was like, oh, thank God.
So
How are you?
Nice to see you. What was your favorite scene for, like, voice-wise of the film? What did you like?
You know, I don't particularly care for the violent stuff, which is so bizarre because there's so much violence in these pieces.
Right.
But there's a scene that, and in fact, if I could have gone in and done one more pass at it once the picture came back, I would have. But there's a scene where Thawne and Flash are face to face, and that was a great scene. And I would like to have gone a little bit more emotional with it, but you know, I work with a lot of male producers, directors, and they don't push the emotion as much as I would like to.
That's why we need you.
Thank you. But there's a moment at the end of this film where Kevin Conroy speaks about, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 words of dialogue that I promise will bring tears to your eyes. That was my very favorite moment of the whole film.
Great.
You also cast Justice League Doom, which had a sort of alternate reality Justice League in it. Compare casting the Flashpoint versions of the actors to casting something like Justice League Doom.
You know, the main objective always is to hire good actors and then adapt their work to the material. So it's not really saying, you know, you look at the character design, you look at what kind of style we're going to do it, and you go, does that voice make sense coming out of that physical being? You don't want a thin, reedy voice coming out of a Superman with shoulders this big. But then when you have a Superman that's, in this piece you'll see, for the most part, he's very emaciated and smaller, so you don't need a big, massive voice for it. So it's a matter of marrying character design, story, and talent. And by that I mean actors' talent. The skill they bring to it.
I was really happy to see Michael B. Jordan added to the cast as Cyborg. And could you talk a little bit about how you decided upon what the voice? And it seems like a little electronic. And
I had seen him in Friday Night Lights, and the best show that nobody ever saw. And I would hire any actor in that piece. I think they're all so good. And I had been looking for something for him, and brought him in for this. And there was a bit of a learning curve for him because he wasn't used to not using this to get a point across. And so he sweated through it. It was a long recording, and it took him a while, but we got it. And then about maybe a year later, I used him in an episode of The Boondocks, and that was really kind of fun because he had the experience with me, so he was a little bit more comfortable. And then this piece came back when I did the ADR, he was a little bit more comfortable. And that's kind of fun to watch an actor learn how to do this stuff and get more comfortable and get better and better at it. And you kind of feel like a mom as you bring them along. You're like, look, he's walking now. He's not crawling anymore. He can walk, and he's running now.
What's the dynamic when you work with like new voice actors who've been in acting and stuff? Like, what's your how do you work with them without, I don't know, some of them have egos and stuff like that? How do you make that work?
The thing is, for the most part, those that have egos only show it because they're nervous. And so a big part of my job is creating a safe environment for them and letting them know, and I often verbally promise them, I will not let their voices go out sounding bad. I will not let their performances be bad. And once they know that, they kind of relax. And they're like, okay, and then they let me work with them. I'm done. I'm good.